Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be doing an in the bag video. A lot of you guys have been requesting this / just asking questions about a lot of the discs that I throw. So I thought I'd do one before the season starts up. My first tournament is in 8 days. So this will likely be the bag that I am playing that first tournament in. Now obviously throughout the season discs change. I've got a lot of them over with Lore right now, the people who dye my discs. And I'm going to be getting a bunch of those in the mail hopefully sometime soon, and obviously those will come into my bag. I've got a Havoc in there, I've got a Maul and things like that, and then some other discs that I currently already bag, but they will be dyed once I get them. So let's go ahead and jump straight into the bag. We are going to start off with our putters like we normally do. Many of you guys already know that I putt with Keystones, and these are Lore dyed Keystones. I putt with 0 medium, so it's a little bit soft, not hard. I don't really like hard putters. I like just a medium plastic. It's very neutral flying, good glide disc. It's got a glide of 5 and it's a -1/1, so very neutral. It is beadless with a very low profile. It just comes out of my hands good, and I like throwing it, or I like putting with it. I also do throw them as well. I've got a throwing one right here that allows me to get some hyzer flip shots as well as some good long anhyzer shots. Just a really, really good putter to putt with and throw. If you guys have never tried it and you're looking for a neutral flying beadless putter, I'd suggest the Keystone. I also have a Opto X Keystone right here that is a beauty. Obviously it is a little bit more stable because it is that Opto X plastic, and this is more of my throwing putter off of the tee. I can throw it out on big hyzers and it'll hold them. Really, really enjoy throwing this disc. And then next we have the Ruby. We've got a Opto Ruby right here that is extremely understable. I use this disc for kind of long putts, so I don't hold it and grip it like this. Whenever I do throw it, I end up holding it in a putting stance, and I throw it as though I was putting just from a far away. So that's for whenever I'm doing patent pending stances, standing backwards, or I need to just get a very intense anhyzer putt going in that direction. And next we're going to go ahead and move on to our mid-ranges. I guess we'll move on to putt and approach because it's kind of a putter / mid-range. The only things of those that I have are the harp. So I've got a Michael Holt harp right here. If you guys are interested in these, you can head over to ardg.shop. Check out the Michael Holt collection. Got lots of different discs over there with my stamp on it. Absolutely love this disc as it started to beat in. I can push it straight on a sidearm, and then I can also throw it on a hyzer. Pretty overstable disc, but again, with this plastic type, as you throw it, it beats in, and it can be a little more understable, especially on sidearms. For backhands, I can give it some power, and it'll hold straight. You guys will have seen that in some shots recently over at Hornet's Nest. Really, really love this disc, especially for those anhyzer approach shots. And then next, ladies and gentlemen, the Ricky Wysocki harp. This thing feels so incredibly good in my hand. And if you guys like glow plastic, I'm not even kidding you. You put this in the sun for 2 seconds and you turn the lights off, it's glowing like a light bulb. I've never seen a glow plastic like this. It's ridiculous. This is going to be used for those sidearm approach shots as well as some big flex backhands if I can. It's only a 4-speed, so obviously not going to get much distance out of this. This is what I'm going to be throwing from probably about 150 away, somewhere like that, maybe up to 200. Definitely love these discs. Next, something that I've been really working on is decreasing the number of molds that I have. It's fun throwing new discs, but a lot of times it can mess with your game, especially if you aren't too confident when you're playing when it comes to decision making. You want to minimize the number of discs that you have. So for me, I started doing that recently. I had the SPZ2 in my bag and I loved that disc, but it was another understable mid and I just didn't need it. So I took it out and replaced it with this Bounty right here. This is just your basic blend plastic Bounty. Throw it out on a hyzer, it'll flip up some. Throw it out on a good hyzer and it'll hold that angle and push straight. Throw it on an Annie and it's gonna hold it almost the entire way. Absolutely love this disc. The Bounty has become my favorite mid-range very, very quickly. It is beaded, as you guys can see, and I'm not much of a beaded thrower, but I absolutely love the Bounty. So this is the base model plastic. Obviously, it's going to be more understable. Next, we've got just our regular Lucid hand-eye Bounty. This is my baby. I love this thing. So confident throwing this. If I throw it flat, it'll push straight with a little bit of fade on it. If I throw it on a hyzer, it'll pretty much hold that. If I throw it on an hyzer, it'll carry and then it'll settle down at the end. Really, really good disc. Got great glide on it. I just absolutely love throwing this thing. So that's going to be a little more neutral than the blend plastic. And then I just got this disc right here. This is a Lucid X Moonshine Bounty. Feels a little more sturdy in my hand. This is probably going to be for those more understable anhyzer approach shots where I can't necessarily get a backhand and I'd rather flick this out and let it be understable and make its way around a corner. Or backhands in a headwind. This will be a little bit more stable than the other plastics because it's Lucid X and Moonshine. Really, really pretty disc. Literally can't wait to get out and throw this thing. I absolutely love the Bounty, and I just love being able to dial in one disc. I like having one disc that I know that I can rely on if I'm ever feeling unconfident. And right now, that's the Bounty for me. And then next, I've got my Justice with that Lure stamp on it. This thing is a beauty. Absolutely love the Justice. Been my go-to overstable mid-range for a while now. You can put some power on this thing on a sidearm and it'll push either on that hyzer for you. You can throw it on Annie and it'll give you a really nice flex shot. It has the same stability as a Felon with that 0.54. So very, very stable disc. And then on a backhand, you can really try and rip it on a flex line and it'll just push straight, maybe turn over a little bit and then die really hard down to the left for lots of different wooded holes. Absolutely love the Justice. It is getting a little more understable as I throw it more and beat it in more. And so the guys over at Lure are working on a Chameleon Justice for me, which is going to be more stable than just this regular Lucid plastic. So after that, we're going to go ahead and move into our Fairway Drivers. Got a whole bunch of these. Real quick, I'll let you guys know that I rock a Combat Ranger bag inside of my Zuka cart. And I've done videos on that before as well if you guys want to see that more in depth. When I'm not using that, I just have a small trooper bag from Dynamic Discs that I throw discs in that I want for a little easier round where I don't need all of my discs. So as we jump into the Fairway Drivers, we're going to go from most understable to the most stable. For those of you who've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I am a huge fan of understable beginner discs. And I put that in quotes because a lot of these discs that are considered easy to use or beginner discs are for people with lower arm speeds who are trying to throw straight. And so that is what you can use that disc for. But that isn't all that you can use that disc for. You can use understable beginner discs to create some unbelievable shot shapes that will really help you out in the woods or out of hard situations. One of those discs for me is the Diamond. So I've got a lightweight Diamond here with that Lure stamp on it. And then I've got a max weight Diamond right here as well that I absolutely love. I use these discs for big hyzer turnover shots. So I'll throw them out on a hyzer angle, they'll flip up and carry to the right, and depending on how far I can throw it, this one will come back. This one, no chance it's coming back. I use this for, like I said, flip up turnover shots, but this one specifically I use when I'm in a patent pending stance and I need to get more distance. I've talked about this in videos before. Distance is a relative thing. Sometimes it's difficult for you to get 100 feet. And sometimes it's difficult for you to get 400 feet. So in those scenarios where it's difficult for me to get 100 feet, I don't want to grab a more stable disc. I want a disc that's going to flip up and fly and glide really nice for me with very little effort. That is the Diamond. It's a -3-1, so it's super understable. But when you're caught in those scenarios where you need to get a little extra distance with a little less effort, that's the Diamond for you. Absolutely love that disc. Next, we'll go into the Sampo. You cannot find these discs new anymore unless somebody hoarded them. They don't make them anymore. It's a 10502, so it's the top end of that spectrum when it comes to fairway drivers. And it is understable now that I've beat it in over the last 2 years or so. I use this disc to throw sidearm, flip up, turnover shots, ridiculous stuff with this. I can throw this on a backhand vertical and it'll pop up and push straight and even turn over for me. Love this disc. Super, super fun. Yeah, you guys have seen me throw this thing a lot. Y'all have seen me throw that thing a lot. Next, you will have also seen me throw this disc a lot over the past couple years. This is the Westside Disc Stag, and it's so old and beat in that it has the old numbers on it. So it says it's an 8603. That is not the numbers on the Stag anymore. It is a little more stable than that, but not this one. This is extremely understable. I throw this for those same sort of hyzer flip-up shot, turnover type things. I can throw it on a sidearm, get a good flight out of it. Just love having this disc in my bag. It's a lot of fun to throw. Next, I've got a Fury, and this is obviously in that different plastic. This is in that opto plastic, so it's a little bit more stable. I think it's Glimmer opto. Well, it's definitely Glimmer. This thing I can throw on a little bit of a hyzer. It'll flip up. If I throw it flat, it'll go a little bit right for me. My buddy Lee gave me this one. Really, really, really good disc. Just a fun disc to throw. Next, in regards to stability, we've got the VIP X Westside Disc Stags. This is a same mold, like I was saying. Having multiple molds of different weights and different plastics allows you to get comfortable holding a disc, but throwing it to do different things. So this one I just recently put into my bag. It's a fun disc, a little more stable. You can push it out straight. It's really, really good. Just a fun disc to have, again, with that other Stag that I'm currently bagging. And then you guys have seen me throw this thing a lot lately. This is my max weight Sapphire. It's called the Sapphire Carrot. It's 170 grams plus. This was from the Trilogy Challenge. The Sapphire is in that beginner disc lineup, but I don't think that it is. I think that anybody can have fun with this disc. You can get lots of distance on it. You can get great hyzer flip shots. Now, obviously, if you're someone that can throw 600 feet or something, then you don't need this. Like Drew Gibson isn't going to bag anything like this unless he wants it to be a roller. But this thing right here, I throw it out flat and let it get a good pan for me. I can throw these over 400 feet pretty consistently. Throw it on a hyzer, it flips up. If I'm throwing it into a headwind or something, I throw it on a hyzer. Tailwind, it'll push pretty straight for me. Absolutely love that disc. And then we've got our Felons. So again, in terms of stability, this beat-in Lure Felon is one of my favorites. Just a regular Lucid Felon that I beat in, and I can push this thing straight. It'll get a little turn for me and then come back. Absolutely love throwing this disc. It is a beauty. It's a beauty. This is my go-to sidearm disc. I never throw Felons on backhands. I don't know why. I just don't. This is my sidearm disc. I'm dialed with those, especially that one specifically. And then obviously the new Ricky Felon in this Orbit plastic. Thrown it a couple times. Can't wait to get some work in with it, and also can't wait to throw it against some trees. I think this Orbit plastic is going to beat in really, really nicely to where I can get a pretty consistent flight out of it. Right now it's super overstable, so I can get some good flex lines out of it. If you throw it flat, it's pretty much just gonna come over to the right, maybe push a little bit straight for you. At least for me, it'll push straight for a little bit and then obviously end right. But again, once it beats in, I think it's gonna be a really, really fun disc like this other one that I have. So that's all my fairways. Now we'll go ahead and go through all of my distance drivers. We'll start off with the Rives. So this is a first run Rive. This one is a little bit more understable than the factory second Rive that I've got right here. The Rive is a 13503.5, so it's a pretty overstable disc. If you guys have not held this Royal plastic, you need to go to your local shop and you need to grab this plastic because this is some of the best feeling plastic out there. It beats in really nice. It's super fun to throw. It's smooth. It comes out of your hand really nicely. There's no real flashing or anything like that. So the Rive is just a overstable disc. I like throwing this one on sidearms when I need like some big overstable distance that won't turn over, because I create so much spin with my sidearms that a lot of times I'll turn discs over. This will hold it for me, at least this one specifically will. I think I threw this 385 the other day, which was a smash for me. I don't think I've ever thrown a sidearm over 400. So yeah, really liking the Rive in this Royal Grand Plastic. It's just such a good disc. Next, I've got First Run Grace here. This thing, as it's beaten in, is a dead straight, little understable disc for me. You can throw it out on a hyzer and it'll hold it. Won't really flip over, like it'll turn, but it won't flip for me, which is perfect. Feels really good in the hand, super consistent. Love this thing. You guys will see Kona throwing this a lot. If you know who she is, Kona Panis, she just joined. She's been posting some pictures of it. Super good disc for really any arm strength. You guys can do a lot with this disc. Absolutely love the Grace. And then we've got this Lucid Raider with that lore stamp on it, the Molt lore stamp. This thing, man, whew, I love this disc now. I can throw it out straight and it goes dead and maybe have a little bit of fade on it and then come back. If I throw this into a headwind, it's understable. Pretty similar. This beat in flies pretty similar to this Grace normally. But sometimes, you know, you just go grab a disc. I like this one on hyzers. It'll flip up and hold them pretty well. Just love having this Raider in my bag. Super confident with it. And then this right here is my big boy distance disc, at least at this point. The Lucid Air Trespass. It is 161 grams. I threw this 528 feet the other day, and it's just a good distance flying disc. If you throw it in a tailwind, it'll go straight for you, won't be too overstable, which is good. And then into a headwind, you can throw it out on a hyzer, it'll flip up and turn. And then in no real wind conditions, if you throw it flat, it'll get a nice flight for you, which is really good out of a 12-speed. So it's a 12.5, negative 0.53. But since it is in that Lucid Air plastic and that lighter weight, it's going to be a little bit more understable. But I love this disc. Really fun to throw. Fits in my hand really nice. This is my distance disc. And then lastly, I've got this new Ricky Enforcer in here. Don't know how much I'll throw this. Really, I just put it in the bag because I'm going to be going to DDO this year, Dynamic Disc Open. And I'm going to need something like this in there that is a little bit more stable than these Rives, because even these Rives will turn over in some of that wind. So will this be in my bag in North Carolina? Probably not, but maybe. I also have some adders, some Westside Disc adders coming from the guys over at Lore. Absolutely love that disc. That will probably replace this as well. But just wanted to show you guys that I will have a slot for a very overstable disc for some force over flex line sidearms and some big headwind backhands as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I also wanted to show you guys the shoes that I wear, just because I know a lot of you wonder that or you ask that type of stuff. Obviously, I've got the very basic stuff in your bag, like minis, blah, blah, blah. I'm not really going to talk about that. I will talk about this real quick, though, and then I'll get to the shoes. This is a 10-pound resistance band. I use this thing to help me out when it comes to stretching and preparing for my round. I'll put it in a loop like this, and I'll grab my hip right here, and I stretch and do some throws like this, and then I switch it and do the other side as well. And that just helps me stretch out my back, my shoulders, my arm, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously you can do a lot of your regular stretches. Doesn't take up much room in the bag, but it's either in my car or my bag, just to kind of help me get loose and prepare for the round, because stretching is extremely important. Obviously got bug spray, all that kind of jazz. These Hokas are my favorite shoe right now. Now, when I first got them, you can see that the sole is kind of round. It's a little weird to get used to. It's not uncomfortable, but it's a little bit strange walking like that. But it's good for your back, especially on trails and things like that. It's just really good. The Hoka's extremely comfortable. It was just a little strange getting used to that, because normally my shoes are a little bit flatter like this, but obviously these have that more rounded edge. And as you guys can see, there's not much damage to the tips of the toes or anything like that. And I've been wearing these for a while. This is the left foot. The right foot does have a little bit of damage on the nose of it right here, just from dragging my foot with sidearms. But otherwise, the shoe is in pretty good conditions. And this is fully waterproof. It's Gore-Tex. They're kind of expensive shoes, but honestly, they've lasted more than other shoes that I've had, like the some of the Nikes and Adidas that I've had. These things have been amazing. Really, really do love them. They're super comfortable. Like I said, kind of weird to get used to walking like that, but I like them a lot. So that's going to be it, guys. That's my bag. If you guys throw Trilogy and you think there are some discs that I need to have in my bag, let me know. I'll try some out and see if they can get slotted in. But otherwise, thank you for watching. Hope that you guys enjoyed. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.